Hi, my name is Christian Hyatt. I'm Managing Director of Risk360, and I help oversee our ISO 27001 series. And this is the series where we go through ISO 27001, all 114 controls, and try to explain some of the details of each control. So today we're covering Control Objective 8.3 around media handling. Media handling has 3 controls, but there's one that is of note that causes some complexity with organizations. We're going to cover all that in detail. So the first control is 8.3.1. Here on the left hand of my screen, you'll see I have the ISO 27001 framework up. If you're wondering what's on the right side of my screen here, this is the ISO 27002 framework. That is the detailed implementation guidance for every control in ISO 27001. So covering off on 8.3.1, this is the management of removable media. And this is the control that causes some problems for organizations because they have to come up with some strategy on how they intend to manage removable media. Removable media is often things like USB devices or portable media like external hard drives. And it causes some controversy in organizations whether or not you want to allow removable media in USB devices or if you want to prohibit them. So I'm going to show you a policy here in just a second to cover off on some of those decision points and walk through that. But the bottom line is on Control 8.3.1, you do want to have a strategy on the the management of removable media. And then if you're moving down to Control 8.3.2, you have to decide how you want to dispose of media. So the way that manifests itself is digitally and physically. So if you are a company that has physical infrastructure, you might want to decide how you're going to dispose of server racks and hard drives or even laptops and desktops once those reach end of life. From a digital perspective, you'd have to decide what is your data disposal process. And, for example, if you're in AWS and data reaches end of life, what is the permanent erasure process for your organization? The last control in this control objective is 8.3.3 around physical media transfer. So that is a control that really refers to if you're an organization that has to, for example, ship hard drives, or if you're in a company that is doing a data center move, a physical data center move, things like that. How are you physically going to transport that media? If you're an organization that, for example, ships backups physically off-site somewhere, then you might need to decide what is the secure process to ship those backups. In today's modern digital environment where everything's cloud, or a lot of things are cloud, sometimes this is less relevant for you. But if you're still in the business of physically moving media, you'd have to get that into your policy or prohibit it entirely if it's not applicable to you. So what I want to do now is I want to hop into our draft information security policy and show you how we're handling this in written format. So on the screen now is Risk360's template information security policy. This is a document that all of our customers have access to, and that if you're a Risk360 client, we're going to help you decide on the strategy here and some of these decision points that make sense for your organization. So I mentioned on the onset, one of the biggest decision points is how you want to handle remote media. So some of the common questions that impact most of the organization is, are you going to prevent USB devices? Like, for example, if someone has a thumb drive and they want to transfer files, are you going to technically, on the laptop, prevent them from being able to do that? Or are you going to specify that they can do that, but within certain limitations? You might even decide that you want to give them USB devices that have to be company issued to be able to transfer media. And you also want to think about that in terms of if someone's using like Dropbox or Google Drive or some kind of cloud media storage, that they are using media, and even though it's not removable media, they're transferring that media outside the organization and transferring it. Do you want to block those sites, or do you want to allow them but specify that the employees can only do that with like personal information? And those are all complex because they change the culture of the organization. If you're used to letting people do that kind of stuff and you take that away, sometimes it's controversial in organizations. So you'll see in our policy here, we outline some of those decision points. And we also do the same thing with disposal of media. Every organization has endpoint devices, so disposing of laptops is something you're going to have to think through. What do you do when those reach end of life? Do you do like DoD level wiping of information? Do you work with a third-party organization to dispose those and to deliver them somewhere so you know that they're securely disposed of? Same thing with physical infrastructure. You have to think about those types of media transfer mechanisms. The last one on physical media transfer, this is going to vary widely, like I said earlier, from organization to organization. If you're kind of a modern tech company and you don't really use any physical media, it might be fairly easy. You're only thinking about maybe endpoint devices, laptops, mobile phones. But if you're an organization that has a lot of infrastructure and you're transporting data offsite via backups, or you literally have to take servers from one site to another, something like that, you'll need to consider those types of situations and build them into your policy, and that'll be part of your greater strategy. So that is media handling of control objective 8.3. If you have any questions about ISO 27001 or you need help implementing the framework, you can reach out to Risk360, visit our website at risk360.com. And if you find this information helpful, please continue watching the rest of the series, and we look forward to the next one.